Hi, this is Dr. Justin Marchegiani here, and today's talk is going to be on Jimmy Moore's new book called Keto Clarity. I just interviewed him on my radio show, beyondwellnessradio.com. Feel free and check out the show for some great information, and I definitely recommend picking up the book. Go to the site at ketoclarity.com. I'm going to just give you a couple of the things that resonated for me the most from Jimmy's interview, and just kind of walk away with some of the application points that you can take about ketosis, and also maybe give you some clarity on ketosis moving forward. Again, what are ketones? Well, there's three main ketones we have to worry about here. There's three. There is acetoacetate. That's going to be a ketone that we see in our urine. So I'm going to write urine there. We see beta hydroxybutyrate. Think of B in beta as B for blood. That's a good reminder. And then again, acetone, kind of like nail polish acetone, that's going to be in your breath. So there's three ways we can measure that: urine, blood, and breath. So what are ketones? These are all fatty acid byproducts from the breakdown of these fatty acids. They go into these various forms. And our body, once we get keto adapted, our body's on this constant seesaw of being a sugar burner and being a fat burner. So as we start bringing the fat back up, we can start going more into ketosis. This is where we want to be. This is ketosis. Now, there are a couple of things that will push it back down. What will push it back down is insulin. So insulin's a hormone that will drop that right back down. So we really have to make sure the carbs are low. And also, we have to make sure we're not doing too much protein. So protein can be another one. So ideally, when we're trying to get in ketosis, we really want a high-fat diet. That's really going to be where we're at. Moderate protein, and again, definitely lower carbs. And the carb levels can change for each individual. People out there like Ben Greenfield that do triathlons and such and do 200 grams of carbohydrate a day and still in ketosis, or people like Jimmy Moore, maybe at 20 to 30, and he's out of ketosis. So you really have to find out what works for you. But this is the energy pyramid or energy seesaw that's happening here, and we really want to make sure we're burning fat. And that can take 1 to 2 weeks for a healthy person to transition. 1 to 2 weeks. And again, if you are unhealthy, it can take up to 1 to 2 months. I think in Jimmy's case, he said about 2 months it would take him to get into ketosis when he first tried. So again, how do we get in ketosis? We already kind of alluded some of these things. Again, for most people, if you don't have too much metabolic damage, so to speak, getting down to 50 carbs, I think, is a really good place to be. If you're already 50 or 100 pounds overweight or have a history of weight issues, you may want to get down into that Atkins sweet spot of around 20 to 30. But that's your first bet. Again, Jimmy mentioned a couple of foods that were really beneficial for him. He mentioned grass-fed meat being really good. He also mentioned butter, grass-fed butter also being good. He also liked heavy whipping cream. Those are a couple of foods that he really liked to help get himself into ketosis. Also bacon and eggs. And these are really high-fat foods. They're also nutrient-dense, especially if you buy them organic, right? And how do I get in ketosis? We already talked about that, keeping the sugar down. Ketosis and hunger. So a lot of people, they notice when they're in ketosis, they're not having any hunger pangs. They're not having any cravings. Why is that? It's because the place in our brain called the apostat, where hunger is, ketones actually suppress hunger. Other things too is protein and fat hit certain neurochemical signals in our body, such as cholecystokinin or CCK, which stimulates bile release. CCK also goes to the brain and says, I'm full. Adiponectin, peptide YY, ghrelin, leptin, all of these things become resistant when we're doing too much sugar. So it makes sense if we're dropping the sugar down and we're increasing the fat and keeping the protein moderately low, that's where it can be very beneficial, and you have the appetite suppressant effects of feeling full and also having the weight loss benefits. I mean, just go back to any of the commercials in the 90s, right? Think of the Pringles commercials. You know, once you pop, you can't stop, right? Think about how many people have the experience of eating a whole pizza right to their face, right? I mean, you don't do that with like a 20-ounce ribeye unless you're very hungry. I mean, it's very hard to. I mean, I've seen 100-pound girls put down a whole pizza. So it's, you don't quite get that appetite suppressant effect that you get with the high quality fat and protein. So right now, if you want to try ketosis, there's a couple of things that you can do. One, check out Jimmy's book. He goes over some details. But two, try to get your body into ketosis first. You can try the keto sticks. That can be very, very helpful. Now, again, once you're in ketosis for a few weeks to a month, your body may not be spitting out ketones in the urine, right? You may not be producing much acetoacetate, and your body may actually shift and produce more beta-hydroxybutyrate. So when this is happening, you may need to use blood testing. There's a couple of blood sticks on the market. I'll put a reference below for one that Jimmy recommends in the book. And then again, acetone's kind of a new technology where they're using acetone breath monitors where you breathe into it and measure acetone. But a really good one short term is the acetoacetate for the urine, and longer term, you can use the beta-hydroxybutyrate. And I'm a big fan of a cyclical ketogenic diet where I'm in, type of ketosis, keeping my carbs around 50-ish, 50 to 70, depending on activity level, for about 2 to 3 days, and then coming out of it with a little more carbs, going up to maybe 130 carbohydrates if I do a CrossFit workout or functional movements. So again, find what works best for you. I find most people can, do a cyclical that gives you the chance to have some of the carby foods if you can handle it. Some people are metabolically damaged and they may need to be in that low carb ketosis diet all the time. So figure out what works best for you. And again, check out Jimmy's site for the Keto Clarity book info. Again, this is Dr. Justin here signing off. More videos to come very soon. Thanks.